What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about Battle Pass fatigue. This is something I've been experiencing more and more as time goes on, as more and more games are implementing Battle Passes and fighting for our time by ensuring that if we want to get the items we pay for, we have to put in the time with their game. And usually it's only available for a limited time. So I wanted to talk about this a little bit, primarily looking forward at Battlefield 6, which is confirmed to have a Battle Pass as part of the Phantom Edition. You do get tier skips for the Battle Pass. Not that it's really surprising that we're going to see a Battle Pass. I mean, 2042 had it, and it seems obvious they were just going to naturally progress that into Battlefield 6, especially with a free-to-play Battle Royale coming out in the future. But on top of that, that's just one game. I'm also going to be playing Black Ops 7 this year. Of course, they're going to have a Battle Pass. And so let's explore this topic a little bit, and we're going to start this off with what I consider to be the pros and cons of having a Battle Pass system, because I don't think Battle Passes are inherently bad. In fact, I think it's one of the best and most consumer-friendly systems we've seen in recent years with video games when it comes to generating that post-launch revenue to help fund the post-launch support and content. When we compare this to supply drops, for instance, I'll take Battle Passes over supply drops any day, because at least with a Battle Pass, you know exactly what you're getting with your money. There is a clear path to the items that you're paying for, and you're guaranteed to get them as long as you're putting the time in. Whereas with supply drops, it's just straight up gambling. You never know what you're gonna get. Additionally, looking further back before supply drops, the typical method of supporting games post-launch with funding is DLC packs. So things like map packs, or in some games you have like weapon packs, for instance, and maybe they'd have like a premium season pass you could buy up front, so it would guarantee all of that post-launch content, and you'd get a bit of a deal on it by buying it up front. Well, looking back, I see some redeeming qualities to systems like that. I think there were more negatives than positives, and the primary negatives of selling DLC packs, especially with the gameplay content like maps, is you split up the player base. Then, in the case of post-launch weapons, if you were making them paid for, there's also the risk of a pay-to-win situation happening, which can create some unfair imbalance in the game. So this is where Battle Passes really shine. They're typically 100% cosmetic, at least for the paid tier of the Battle Passes. Most games that have a Battle Pass will also have a free tier, and oftentimes that's where they'll put like playable content is in the free tier. So you still have to grind to get them, but you don't have to pay to get like a new gun, for instance. And as a result, you don't have to buy the Battle Passes, and if you don't, you're not missing out on anything that isn't purely cosmetic. And the great thing about that is the player base remains unified, unlike with DLC packs. And you're getting those DLC packs now for free, 100% for free. All you have to do is buy the base game. Like I said, you don't have to spend any money on Battle Passes, and you still get free maps. So the amount of value you're getting there compared to back in the day with map packs is much higher. The people that are paying for the Battle Passes are funding all of that, and everybody with the game gets to enjoy that content. Then for the developers or the studio or the publisher, Battle Passes help them a lot with player retention over time, as people often feel compelled to complete every Battle Pass that they purchase. Obviously, you're putting money out up front, so you're generally going to want to make sure you're getting that content that you've paid for, so you're going to be putting the time in with the game. And the more players they keep around playing the game, the more likely they are to make more sales in their store, as well as just future sales on more Battle Passes as time goes on. So they're continuing to suck a little bit of money out of you over time. So when looking at it that way, it is kind of a win-win. It helps the developers to fund things post-launch. They're probably making a lot more money on their Battle Pass system combined with a storefront compared to back in the day with DLC map packs, for instance. And from a player's perspective, it's a much better experience because you have a unified player pool, and you're almost always getting all of the gameplay-related content 100% for free after launch. And then one last great thing about Battle Passes, or at least most Battle Passes that I've ever seen in video games, is usually if you buy a Battle Pass and you complete that Battle Pass over time, it will typically earn at least enough in-game currency to buy the next Battle Pass, as long as you don't end up spending any of that in-game currency on something else. And therefore, if you have good self-control, you only ever have to buy a Battle Pass once for a game. And as long as you're completing that Battle Pass, you get the next Battle Pass effectively for free. And you can just keep carrying that forward over and over again, as long as you're not spending any of that currency elsewhere. Which again is quite friendly. Instead of buying multiple map packs, for instance, throughout a year, you literally buy one Battle Pass once, and you're good. You're now getting all future Battle Passes effectively for the price of one. So there are definitely some solid pros to Battle Passes. I think it is the best system we've seen, at least in recent years. But in saying that, I think Battle Passes tend to come with some issues as well, and this is why we're starting to see a lot of burnout with players, myself included. So let's explore some of the cons of Battle Passes, or at least some Battle Passes. Not all Battle Passes are created equal, as we'll see. But the main con is I think it can lead to a lot of burnout because battle passes can feel very tedious, and at times it turns playing the game into a chore. So in the past, before battle passes, the only reason you would ever play the game post-launch was because you genuinely just wanted to experience the game and play the game. Whereas now, I think a lot of the times players are figuring out that the reason they are playing the game is because they have to complete this battle pass and do their chores basically in-game in order to extract the value out of the money they put into the game for that battle pass. And this can be especially bad if you're playing multiple games as well that have battle passes and you're buying battle passes for multiple games and they're all fighting for your time. It can be really exhausting and sometimes even a little bit stressful trying to make sure that you're putting enough time into each of these games, which means for many people that have purchased multiple battle passes at the same time in multiple games, they've found that it's just not really sustainable, and therefore they find themselves feeling like they've got to stick to just one game in order to get their money's worth of post-launch content. Which I think is another con of battle passes from a player's perspective, is it can often make it feel like you get locked into playing a particular game and you don't have time to play other games because you've got to get this battle pass completed before the season ends. That's great for the devs and the publisher because they're keeping you in their ecosystem and therefore more likely to spend more money on their stuff, rather than you playing other games and maybe spending your money on those games. But it can have a harmful impact on the players in the long run, especially when they find themselves not branching out and enjoying a broader range of games like maybe they used to. And this leads me to the second issue, which is a big cause of the first issue, and this is the fact that battle passes typically rely very heavily on FOMO, or the fear of missing out, because in most games, there are some exceptions and we're going to be talking about that a bit later, battle passes are a limited time thing where you have to complete that battle pass by a certain time, and if you don't, too bad. Anything you didn't earn and unlock throughout that time is gone. And that means you don't end up getting all of the things that you paid for at the beginning, which I think is one of the primary reasons that it can be a little bit stressful and frustrating, is you have that set time limit to earn the value that you purchased. The next con of battle passes is, depending on the game, it can often feel like this means you're getting fewer items that are tied to the game itself, and a lot of the cosmetics and the things that you would earn through in-game progression that was just included as part of the base game, it's like they've taken that away and now they're selling it in battle passes instead. And I think that has led to a feeling that many games at launch are just lacking. They aren't the full package that we used to get back in the day, where when you buy a new game, there's just so much in there and so much to do right off the bat, and you don't have to rely on things coming out over time because it's all there right at the beginning. Now, it often feels like when you buy a new game, you're buying into the foundation of that game with the promise of more down the road. You know it's not going to feel like a full, complete package, but you also know that there is going to be a lot of post-launch support, and you're going to see improvements over time as well as content additions over time, and much of this was just expected back in the day to be in the game right when it launched. And then one last thing I wanted to talk about here when it comes to the cons of battle passes is relative to paid DLCs in the past, there's definitely an argument that the quality of the content that we're getting post-launch isn't as high in some cases as what we used to see with paid DLC, because expectations are lower when you're getting something for free. So if a new season comes out for a game and it just feels like it's lacking, like you didn't get as much content as you got last season, or the quality of that content is just horrible and you don't like the quality that you're seeing, your complaints about that will hold less weight because you didn't pay for that. It was free. It was something they just gave you that they didn't even have to give you over time. So too bad. You get what you get and be happy with the fact that it's just free now. Whereas back in the day with a paid DLC, if that paid DLC sucked, well, then they're just not going to get your money. So they had to earn that money every single time with each DLC pack. So they had to make sure they were packing each DLC with not only a decent quantity of content, but also a really good quality of content in order to maximize sales and also reduce backlash against that because people were paying for it and they want to make sure they're getting their money's worth. And that pretty much covers it for the primary pros and cons of the Battle Pass system. Again, I do want to reiterate, I think overall the Battle Pass system is still the best thing we've seen for post-launch support in recent years. However, I think some of the cons can be mitigated with some improvements to Battle Passes, and we're actually starting to see some of this improvement with certain games. And I would love to see other games like Battlefield and like Call of Duty, for instance, follow in these footsteps. And the first big thing that I want to see normalized more when it comes to Battle Passes is the elimination of the FOMO surrounding Battle Passes. And the best way to do this, and something that several games have started to do, is allow us to go back and complete old battle passes. If we didn't finish that battle pass, during the season that we bought that battle pass in, it shouldn't just expire and we suddenly can't get those items that we paid money to be able to get. We shouldn't feel like we have to force ourselves to play and complete in-game chores with a time limit attached to that. That adds unnecessary stress to the gameplay experience. And again, I think that really leads to a lot more burnout with battle passes. So by allowing us to go back and complete old battle passes, it eliminates a lot of that stress. It still keeps us playing your game. We still have to put the time in to get that battle pass completed. There's just less stress for us surrounding that. And in my eyes, at least, less stress with that would also mean more of a focus on enjoying the experience and playing at our own pace, not playing because we feel like we have to play, but once again, going back to the time where we're playing the games because we want to play the games. And sure, we still want to complete our battle passes, but there's less stress surrounding that. We know that we can just get it done at our own pace. Now with that, if you provide the ability to go back and complete old battle passes, I do think it's totally fair to make it so you can only progress one battle pass at a time. So if you have a current battle pass that you're working on for the current season, but you didn't complete the battle pass from last season, well, I don't think you should be able to progress both of them at the same time. I think you should have the ability to choose which one you want to currently be working on, but there should be no time limit attached to that. This is something I think would help alleviate probably the biggest issue with battle passes right now, which is that feeling of burnout and FOMO. And like I said, I think some devs and publishers are recognizing this, and that's why they're starting to implement this into their games. It creates a more welcoming and friendly experience rather than a stressful experience where it feels like you're clocking in to do a job. But then on top of this, I think there's another issue with some battle passes. Again, not all battle passes are created equal. I'm going to pick on Call of Duty for this one because I think they handle this part really poorly relative to other games like Battlefield. Actually, Battlefield 2042 does a good job in this area from what I've seen. And I suspect and hope Battlefield 6 will carry forward with this. And this is how you progress your battle passes. With Call of Duty, it's literally just time in-game. That's all that matters. XP doesn't appear to matter at all. You could perform extremely well one game, and you're progressing just as fast as the guy on the bottom of the lobby that did horrible and barely got any score or XP for the game. On top of that, there's no integration of challenges or anything, which is something Battlefield does. They integrate challenges to help you progress your battle passes faster. So you're not really engaging with anything special. You're literally just clocking in and putting the time into the game. And that's another area where I think it leads to a lot of burnout when it feels like the only way to progress something is to literally just exist in the game. And this can really feel exhausting, and it really pushed me away from even caring about progressing my battle passes, especially in Black Ops 6. I think the only battle pass I completed was Season 1. Outside of that one, I don't believe I've completed any of the other battle passes. And honestly, I've just stopped caring entirely. Once I get my guns, which are in the free tier of the battle pass anyway, I don't care about the battle pass. It's irrelevant to me. I don't care about any of those cosmetics or anything. I just care about the gameplay experience. And when I'm not enjoying my gameplay experience because I feel like I'm only playing because I have to be putting the time in, the battle pass is no longer enough to keep me engaged and around with the game, because the rewards for it are just offering more of that stuff that I don't care about. Whereas when you integrate challenges into your battle pass progression, alongside just continuing to progress as well by putting the time in, I find that to be far more interesting and engaging, and it gets me wanting to interact with that more because there are things that I can do in the game to speed up my progression, and therefore that becomes a game of its own. I've got something I can actively work toward as I'm playing a match to make sure that I'm getting the most of the time that I'm putting into that game, and I find that to be way more enjoyable than just clocking in and making sure that I exist for long enough in the game. So with this, I'm not too concerned about Battlefield 6. I think they are just going to keep following suit with what they've been doing, and I think they're doing a great job in that area. But focusing on Call of Duty, I think it's really time for them to make a change to how they're handling their Battle Pass, because I have been seeing a lot more burnout surrounding this. And it's not just burnout with Battle Pass, to be clear. There's burnout for many other reasons as well, but this video is just focused on Battle Passes. Either way, for both of those franchises though, something that I really hope they are considering adopting is eliminating that FOMO and allowing us to complete older battle passes that we've paid for. And there we have it. Those are the primary things I wanted to focus on today when it comes to the battle pass system. I do like battle passes overall. I think we are on the right track, but I just think there's still a lot of room for improvement here and optimization when it comes to battle passes. And I think they really need to start adapting battle pass systems to prevent a lot of the burnout that we've been seeing with battle passes over the years. Now, of course, these are all just my thoughts, and this is where I want to hear from you guys in those comments down below. First off, how do you feel about battle passes in general in video games? Do you guys like the battle pass system, especially relative to some of the older systems of generating post-launch revenue? And second, how would you make battle passes better in the future? Do you guys like the idea of being able to complete any old battle pass you want at any time? Are there other things you think they could do to make battle passes more interesting or just better overall for the player experience? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.